Alright, so hello friends. So, been a minute. We know if you have seen like any of my posts on the channel, you will know that I was essentially like forced out of our home. My landlord sold a place and he sold it to people who wanted to live in it. You know, the house that I had essentially lived in for the past like 13, 14 years. And while I was technically under a lease until February of next year, or end of January, start of February, they decided to do some really sleazy, underhanded stuff that would have, in like the new contract or whatever, that would have gotten me evicted. And so to avoid that, I just moved out. It was a very big financial strain, but it was the best choice because if you live in America, like I do, the minute you get an eviction on your name, you're screwed. You can't like come back from that. Like trying to rent a place with an eviction on you is just, it's not possible in this country. You know, nothing's possible in this country anymore. Because of that though, I've had like just like a really stressful year, and like my reading has taken a huge plummet. Like I've gone months not picking a book up, or picking one up and then just putting it down, like that whole kind of thing, like just really struggling. And while we are now in a new place, I do have my job, which I love my new job. I just want to make that very clear. Okay, I love my new job. I still have to try and like work as many hours as I can to stay afloat and to catch up on like so many bills that I fell behind on, because in the old house the bills were really high. They're much cheaper in my new place now, which will be nice going forward, but like there's just so much that I have to get caught up on financially. My car is still giving me problems, so it's just like a whole thing, you know. And so it's just still really stressful, but I'm also trying to learn how to manage my stress. But reading has still kind of taken like a big back seat. But within the last like month and a half, I've been able to like pick up some books. And then before I didn't think I was losing my home, I read a couple of things, and then there's like stuff that I started and I didn't finish. So today we're just gonna kind of like quickly go over some of the stuff that I have been reading and what's been going on and like how my reading has even been, and then also show a little unhaul because I am getting rid of some more books again. So yeah, so let's talk about some of the stuff that I had attempted to read earlier in the year. So one of the books that I had attempted to read was Essex Dogs by Dan Jones. I want to say I got maybe 15% into this, and I was like, this is too much. I need to put it down. Like it was just, I couldn't focus on it. Like I was listening to the audiobook and was doing like an immersive read with it, and I just got to a point where I was like, I do not have the mental capacity to follow this story. And the thing is I want to, because like I love Dan Jones as a writer. I think he's like a fantastic historical writer. And so his historical fiction is also like something that I know that I'm going to enjoy. And so I have this entire trilogy. Like I have them all. And yeah, they're the broken binding editions, but like that's besides the point. Like I have the whole trilogy because I know I'm going to enjoy it. And so I had to stop reading it because if I had kept going, it was gonna like ruin my enjoyment. So this I ended up putting down, and next year, hopefully, if things keep getting better for me, I can tackle this one, the entire trilogy. But yeah, that was one that I had started and then I couldn't finish. Let's see. I've got piles of books sitting next to me. Another one that I had started was Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio. Yes, I had wanted to at least get the first book done, and it looks like I made it 168 pages before I set it aside. And the thing is I was doing an immersive read with the audiobook with this one, and I was just really struggling to find the enjoyment in it. And I don't know if it's because of where my mental like where I was mentally was like causing that effect, or if it's actually the story. And so because I couldn't figure out which of the two was like causing the issue, I went ahead and decided to put it down and just kind of try again at a later date. Because like I feel like it's gonna be something that I'm gonna like, but also, you know, it might end up being something that I don't like, and I'm just gonna have to deal with that. So yeah, that's another one that ended up being a not for now. Again, if next year I'm in a better headspace, then I want to try it next year. So we'll see what happens. Then we have Lear Wife by J.R. Thorpe. This one, I made it 48 pages before I put it down. So I had actually started this one right before we moved. Like literally, like I want to say I started this the week before I made the decision to get us out of that house and away from those new landlords. And I was vibing with it because the first 48 pages, like, she's depresso espresso. And I've been depresso espresso too. So I was like, girl, we are vibing. You and I, we got that depression thing going on. But then I started moving and I had to pack all my books up. And I just, by the time we got put into here and everything, I was like, you know what? I would rather just start over again so I can appreciate her depression. So that's what happened with that one. Another one that was started is The Tortured Kingdom by Brian Asher. I have actually started this one twice. I made it further the second time with 123 pages. So the author sent this to me just kind of like out of the blue. I think it was like back in like February, March-ish maybe. Like towards the beginning of the year, he sent this to me because I have reviewed one of his other books and I really enjoyed it, The Fear of Moncoy. Really loved that one. And so he sent this one to me and it was nice because like it has been a minute since I've been able to like at the end of the year, I plan on doing a book haul, and it's not going to be very big, okay? Like, and so receiving this one kind of like out of the blue was like kind of nice. But the first time I read it, I was like, oh, I'm not feeling this right now. And then the second time I was like, okay, like let's give it another try. I'm struggling a little bit with it. Like it's written well, but it's very Dungeons and Dragons-esque, like the whole thing kind of like takes place in a dungeon, like it's that whole vibe, and that's not really like something that I'm into, and so it is a bit of a struggle. I'll probably end up starting it again at some point, trying again, because I don't remember what the last thing that I think the last thing that happened was it finally started doing that whole like it's like the lit RPG stuff. That's what it is. It's one of those kind of like style books, and like for a while there it wasn't doing like the standard like drink this potion and you level up kind of thing, and I was like, okay, like maybe I can vibe with this. But then I remember a chapter happened and like they beat something in the dungeon or whatever, and it was like the level up stuff started to come in, and I was like, and it just kind of like ruined it for me a little bit. But I don't want to give up because like I said, like I enjoyed his other books and I do like his writing, so like I'll try again and see what happens. So it's not like a DNF forever, it's just a like not for now kind of thing. And then one of the hold on, I have a list of stuff. Hold on, let's see. Okay, so one of the other ones I started and didn't finish was The Mountain Crown by Karen Loichi. This I have digitally because I actually have I have all three books. I have the trilogy because they're novellas. And I think I made it like 10% and then I just stopped. No reason. No, I just stopped. These Prisoning Hills. I forget who the author is of this one. But it was fine. It was just a short little novella. Like, I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't really have like anything like special to say about it. I'm actually just kind of like, I just remember enjoying it enough. So yeah. And then I read The Wood at Midwinter by Susanna Clarke, and this one I had heard like a lot of like back and forth from people on this, like, oh, it's really good, or oh, it's like it's fine, or what happened here kind of thing. And like, I love her Piranesi, and I do want to read Doctor Strange and Mr. Norrell. That is like on my list of books that I want to read by her. But this one, The Wood at Midwinter, it was just a short little novella. And honestly, I was kind of disappointed with this one. Like, I just feel like it doesn't feel complete for some reason. Like, when I finished it, I was like, that's the end? Like, that's it? Like, I don't know, like, something was just missing from it. Like, it just feels incomplete to me for some reason, and I don't know why. And it's just kind of like makes it kind of like a damper. And I'm like you can pick up like the fantastical elements, and you're like, okay, like, cool, like, I see where this is going. Like, I'm, like, I like the strange that comes with it, but it also just feels like there's something missing, and it feels incomplete, and it just kind of bothers me. I read In the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Klune. I hated it. I hated every second of it. Yeah, like, that book made me angry. Yeah. Because apparently Klune thinks it's funny to make fun of people who are uncomfortable with sexual topics. And I don't find that funny. Like, he basically just had all of his characters make fun of an asexual character for the whole book, and that really ticked me off as someone who identifies on the ace spectrum. That really just got under my skin. I have removed that book from my collection. And then I read a bunch of Junji Junji Ito. So hold on a second. Let me go grab those. I'm saving the best book for last if you guys like haven't picked up on that. Look, I still have the library copy of These Prisoning Hills by Christopher Rowe. That's who it's by. Definitely worth checking out. It's sci-fi. It's fine. It's nothing to like, oh my god, like go crazy for. Anyway, so the Junji Itos I read. First off, hold on a second. Let me just say, I have a love-hate relationship with Junji Ito, okay? I have the strongest love-hate relationship with this man's work, okay? Because for me, I love his art. I love his art, okay? It's weird, it's creepy, it's detailed. Sometimes it's simplistic. Like, he can go from simplistic to detailed, like, on the same page, okay? And it's always just the weirdest, creepiest little ideas, and I love that. So I love looking at his art. I think his storytelling is terrible. And I know sometimes I feel like I'm in the minority when it comes to that. Like, I just genuinely sometimes think that his writing is just not good. It's just not good. So I just have this love-hate relationship because, like, I want to read them because I want to see the art and I want to see what weird, crazy, grotesque things he can come up with. But I also know that I'm just gonna, like, about the stories. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 of his books. I got them all from the library. And then, of course, my sister came over and was like, I own these, right? And I was like, I know, but I was at the library and they had them, so I checked them out. So first up, we have Love Sickness. This one, for the most part, it follows this town that has this, like, weird fog that sets into it, and this character, like, travels through the fog and everything, and it answers the the wishes and desires of the people who are in there. You know, they're like, oh, what do I need to do to find true love? And like he'll answer the question, but like, you know, next thing you know, like people are dying in the fog, and you know, it becomes like this big whole thing where it's like the girls are like obsessed with trying to find him and everything, and you know, they all just like mysteriously die. But then like the main boy that you're following is like connected to it somehow as well, and you're just like, oh, okay, like and as usual, like a lot of the times Junji Ito's books end on a note where you're like, so is that actually happening or not? Is that character connected or not? Like, and it just drives me crazy that so many of his stories end that way. And so that's what like this majority of the book was. Like I would probably say like a good chunk of this book was that. And it was like, it's like intercept as well through like you read like a couple of chunks of that story, and then there's like a short story not related to it, and then it goes back to it. You know, it's just kind of like the way they set up his books. And then I had a couple other short stories in here where they just kind of like, one was about poop. And we're just gonna end that book right there. Yeah. Then we have Allie, which is another short story collection. There is one in here that does deal with an alley, but it just like ends. Like it just, the way it ends, like it just end. Like like I just feel like there's no closure to it at all. And you're just like, oh, that's okay. What else was in this one? Let's see. Oh, there was a smoking thing. Something about people smoking something and it like taking their souls or something. Oh, and then there's like the moldy water where the whole house becomes mold. That one was kind of odd. Like they're interesting ideas, but it's like he kind of like, sometimes it's just like, oh, and then there's the crazy town. That's right. The crazy town with like all the peeping toms and whatnot. That one they actually turned into like a little short, like an anime or whatever. But like a lot of his are just like these short random like 2-second ideas he had that he draws them out, you know. And then I read his Frankenstein, which is, yes, based off of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I don't know how true it is to the tale of Frankenstein, because I've never read Frankenstein, so I can't tell you in comparison how well his adapts the idea, but I enjoyed it, you know. And then there's like another story in here about like a possessed house that has like dimensions in it. Like there's like a portal that connects these two dimensions, and on one side there's like this evil guy. The main character is like evil, and on the other side he's like good or whatever. And then we have the Liminal Zone 1 and Liminal Zone 2, which is again just short story collections. None of them really stood out. I actually probably found these ones like the worst. Like there's one where like they jump into like this like sea, like it's not a sea, but it's like a sea of human bodies, and they just become super smooth, and it's just weird. You know, yeah, I found these ones, the liminal zone ones to be the worst. Like they just really didn't have interesting stories in them to me. Again, like the art was interesting, you know, because I find his art very interesting, but story-wise, I just don't like his writing. Like, but you know what? I got through them. I read them. That's all that matters. Moving on. So I have actually also been like reading through a ton of middle grade. So going forward, I have made the executive decision, because I am the executive in my household, to not purchase middle grade books anymore. And it's not because I've fallen out of reading them, because I do still love reading middle grade. I have just decided that I would rather just keep getting them from the library, and instead of owning them. unless it's like one that I like really, really, really fall in love with. So I have been trying to tackle my middle grade books that I own, so that I can go through my middle grades again and get rid of the ones that I've read and don't want to keep anymore, because like, you know, they were like fine or whatever. So these past 2 months, I've actually been like really cracking down on it and reading them. And so, I'm going to show you guys the ones that I have finished within these last few months. Give me just a moment. Like I said, I just have books piled next to me. These ones, it's quite a bit of them, which is good. All right, so these are them. Okay, so these are the middle grade ones that I've read. I'm still holding off on one book because it's a 5-star read and I'm going to make you guys wait till the end. So, yeah, bear with me. So one of the ones that I just recently finished, which would be today, is Ava Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch. Just read Kiki's Delivery Service. I mean that in the nicest way. I really do. Because the first like 20% of this book, I was like, so Kiki's Delivery Service? Like, I understand taking inspiration. I understand, you know, that you read something and you like it and you want to make your own version and everything, but we should probably not just recreate the same thing. But then there was just like other elements of the story that I just felt weren't necessary, like the orphanage. We didn't need that. Genuinely, the story did not need that. It bloated the character base, like just so many characters, and I was like, we need to calm down. Like, you've over bloated your book with characters, and then like story threads, and then the big like scary bad thing called the culling. Were we just not going to do anything with that? Were we not going to explain that to our readers? We were just going to like keep talking about it and being like, it's the worst thing ever, but also the town got attacked by a tsunami. Like, I got really irritated with this one. And I own the second one, which is Ava Evergreen and the Cursed Witch. And I have decided that I am DNFing the series, because I did not like the first one. So I am going to be removing these from my collection. So yeah, it's sad because like I wanted to love it because it was pitched as like, if you love Kiki's Delivery Service, like, yes, I love Kiki's Delivery Service. It's my second favorite Studio Ghibli movie, first being Laputa Castle in the Sky for all of you, okay? But I don't want to reread Kiki's Delivery Service from someone else, if that makes sense. So anyways, yesterday I finished The Revenge of Magic by James Riley. This is the first book in a series. I forget what it's called, but it was fine. Like, it's got some pretty cool elements in it. I'm going to continue reading it. I'm going to get it through the library though, because I only own the first book. But like, I will say the one thing that probably was annoying because I did audiobook this is that the main character, he yells a lot. Like, homeboy, calm down. Stop yelling at me. But it does like fit in the context of the story because he's just getting angry at people all the time because people are like terrible. But it deals with magic coming back, and the people who gave them magic are like, we're coming back to take it back because like you guys turned it around and used it against us, and that's not cool. But he is also mad because his dad was harmed by these creatures. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, but I am going to be getting rid of my copy since I'm not going to buy it. It's like not something that I would reread, but I do want to finish the series and see where it goes. Then I read Willa of Dark Hollow by Robert Beatty. This is the second book in the Willa of the Wood duology, and honestly, this one's better. Like, I could not get into this one for some reason. There was just something about it that just really lacked any kind of like gumption to like get me invested in it, and so I was just like, yeah, whatever. You know, by the time it like got to the end, I was like, are we done yet? Like, it had some cute moments, but nothing that like really, you know, blew me away. You know, I was just like, whatever. I think the first book is good by itself. Then we have, this is not the right one. Hold on a second. Is this the right one? No, that was the right one. We have Snared Lair of the Beast by Adam J. Epstein. This is the second book in the, I think it's like, Wiley something? Because the kid's name is like Wiley or something like that. But anyways, this is the second book in the series. It was fine. Nothing to like go crazy for. Like, you know, it kind of follows the same beats as the first one did, with we have to escape from this area and we got to do it quick, and also look at all these new magical creatures and everything. Like, it was fine. There's one more left. It's a trilogy. I don't own it. I'm gonna finish it through the library and just be done with it that way. So that one's gonna get removed from the collection as well. Then I read In the Red by Christopher Swidler. This is a middle grade sci-fi. I have actually not really read a lot of middle grade sci-fi. It's not really one that's done often. But this one, they live on Mars now, and the main boy that you follow, he has basically a lot of anxiety going out onto like Mars, like in his spacesuit and whatnot, and then he ends up taking a test and he gets stranded out there. Basically just does everything that he's told not to do, gets himself stranded with his friend, and then they have to like make their way back. Like, you know, it's a pretty big, like, you put yourself into this situation, now get yourself out of it kind of story. And it was fine. Like, I think the representation for like his anxiety was pretty good. As someone who has anxiety, like, I think the author did capture that pretty well and handled it pretty well. But yeah, you know, it's a standalone, but nothing to call like crazy about. And so I'm going to be getting rid of that one as well. And then we have the Blackwell Pages trilogy. I binged these back to back. So the first one is Loki's Wolves. The second is Odin's Ravens, and then the third is Thor's Serpents, which don't really make sense because Thor has goats, but I guess that's a conversation for a different day. But I audiobooked this entire thing, and I cannot express enough how angry these audiobooks make me. And the fact that I listened to all three really shows like how desperate I was to like get through books that I owned. Because here's the thing. Norse mythology has words that have been around forever. You know, they've been around for a very long time. You can go online and you can find the correct pronunciation of these gods and goddesses and words related to Norse mythology, okay? You can find that online. All right? Like, that is something that we have access to. The fact that this book series is narrated by not one narrator, but two, and neither one of them bothered to look up how to pronounce some of these words, is rude. It's rude. Just to give you guys an idea, in the second book, the Jotuns show up, you know, from Jotunheim. They were called Jotners and Jotuns through basically the entire second book and through probably about 70% of the third book. They're called Jotuns and Jotuns. And I'm like, that's a real word with a real pronunciation that exists. And what was even worse was the female narrator would flip-flop back and forth between Jotun and Jotun, whereas the male narrator was just saying Jotun. And then about when it reached that 70% point, it was almost as if they had an editor come in and say, hey, you guys are saying that wrong, because then they finally started saying Jotun. Like, and then another name, one of the boys that's in the story, who's one of the main characters, his name is Fenrir, you know, like Fenrir the wolf, Loki's, you know, wolf son. They called him Fen for short. The narrators would say Fen or Finn. Sometimes in some chapters he was Finn, some chapters he was Fen. Sometimes on the same page he was Fen or Finn. Like, it is not difficult to be consistent. And it just felt like they had nobody listening to these on the outside saying, hey, you guys aren't consistent with how you're pronouncing things. And it became so annoying. And it does, in fact, like ruin your enjoyment of the story when your narrators can't pronounce anything correctly. Because you're like, and when they keep changing how a character's name is pronounced. And you're like, but other than that, like, if I had, like, read these, they would have been like a little bit more enjoyable. But I did do the immersive read because these copies do have art in them, which is nice. You know, like there's art. Come on now, open up, open. So like there's art, you know, full length art pages, like all throughout all 3 books, you know. The authors did a pretty good job with like their research on Norse mythology and, you know, trying to intertwine them into the stories and everything. It's not Percy Jackson, you know, which is, you know, what you don't want. Like, you don't want, you know, the carbon copy of Percy Jackson, but it's also like, it's not memorable either, you know. And of course it follows the whole like Ragnarok thing, but yeah, like it was fine. But I don't plan on rereading again, so I'm gonna remove it from the collection. And so that's what I own physically. The other ones that I did was Stitch by Padraig Kenny. This is a Frankenstein retelling, and it was adorable. Okay, it wasn't like scary and creepy. It was actually on the adorable side, and it does like tackle the topics of like judging people by how they look as opposed to like judging them for who they are. And it just like, I don't know, it makes it like a fun like introduction to the idea of Frankenstein for kids. Then I read Firefly Hollow, just cute little story with like some talking fireflies and crickets. Like, it honestly felt way too long. I will say that though. Like, it just felt like the story would not end, and I was like, this feels like it should be like 100 pages at most. Like, they dragged that sucker out. Then I read What About Will? This is a very like emotional kind of story about 2 brothers. And it tackles some very, very heavy topics in a very approachable manner for kids. Older brother Will, who's 16, he gets hurt. I actually own this book, but I'm too lazy to go grab it. But anyways, he gets hurt playing football and gets brain damage from it and everything. And so now he like has moments where he just kind of like flips out and everything. And younger brother is like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, where'd my brother go and stuff like that. And then older brother gets wrapped up in bad things, you know, like meeting with the wrong kind of people, getting caught up in the wrong kind of crowds, you know. And it does end on a really somber note and everything, but it's a realistic somber note that I do think there are plenty of kids who will like really connect with this book, and how not everything ends in rainbows and sunshines. Like, sometimes your 16-year-old brother has to go to rehab. Like, that's just what has to happen. And I really appreciate like the rawness of it. That's one that I am keeping in my collection. So yeah, really good one. And then the last one I read, because I actually got offered an ARC for it from the publishers, was The Last Kids on Earth, the first book, because they're re-releasing like anniversary editions for it. And that book is so fun. Like, I read it in like 2 hours. Like, it's done in that same style as like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but it's so fun. But it's like zombie apocalypse stuff, and like I'm not a zombie apocalypse kind of girl, but like this one, like, and it's not so much like just zombies, because it's like there's like monsters and stuff too, but it's like in that realm and everything. But it was just so fun, and like the humor in it was just immaculate. Like, I was like, I am here for this humor, because it wasn't just like poop jokes and fart jokes. Like, it was like genuine humor, you know. And I just thought it was so fun, and so I plan on finishing reading that series. I'm kind of glad that the publishers were like, hey, like, you want to ARC read this for the anniversary? And I was like, yes. So yeah, that was fun. And so now the last book that I have been saving, because this has probably been the only 5-star read I've had all year. And I loved this. And that would be The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. I loved every inch of this book. You guys have no idea. I cried. The emotions, okay? Like, oh, you guys. And what's crazy is Bookish Chaz had picked this out for me to read because I had sent him a picture of one particular shelf and was like, pick out a book for me to read. And he was like, all right, cool. Book of Doors. And I was like, cool. And I was just like, sir, you picked out a 5-star. Like, this is my only, like, 5-star of the year. Because I don't remember what I read at the beginning of the year. Gonna be real with you guys. So I honestly think this is the only 5-star I've had. But I loved every inch of this. It's got time travel, and it's got like a great cast of characters. I loved the main character, and her bestie. Like, yes, you know, like, just, I don't want to like go too much into it because like I don't want to spoil it. But like it's just so good. But like, there's so many like emotional scenes, and then like when you get to the end and you actually like get the answers to everything, you're like, stop it. And it makes some of the other like emotional things like hit just a little bit more. Like, oh, I love it. Like, I want to read his other book that he has, The Society of Unknowable Objects, I think that's what it's called, which I think it's supposed to be like roughly in the same realm. But like the other thing that's really cool about this one is that like the time travel happens through like the use of books, because like books have power. And so there's like these like very particular books that like people have access to, and if you have them, you can use the power of the book. And one of them is, it deals with time travel. And you know, you have others that like shadows and like fire and stuff, like, but not all of them have been discovered and everything. And there's like a group of people who have been trying to find them. And like this just innocent girl who worked at a bookshop gets wrapped up in this world. But it's so good. And I loved it so much. And I just remember doing like, I did cry a lot reading this one. So yes, read The Book of Doors. It is so good. I highly recommend this one. So that's everything that I've read. And so I'm going to like quickly show you the other books that I'm removing from my collection, because I know this video is already kind of long, but it's been a minute since I've been here. So I think that's fine. So the rest of the books that I'm getting rid of are more middle grade ones. In total, it's 22 of them. So there was like all those ones that I read that I showed you guys. But I'm also going to get rid of Wicked Nix, by Lena Coakley. It's a really good story. It's really cute and, quick and easy to read, but like, I'm not going to read it again. Long Lost, it's very fairy tale inspired. This is by Jacqueline West. It's like a fairy tale about two sisters. I read it like last year. I thought it was fine. Nothing to like be crazy about. Lost Books. Oh, I read this one last month. I missed this one. I read this one last month. It was good. It's magical books and everything, you know, which is, you know, always a fun kind of thing. But it was fine. You know, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I'm not going to read it again. And like the villain was like really obvious, you know, so kind of annoying. Last Bear, really sweet, story, you know, little girl lives in the North Pole with her dad, and, she meets the last polar bear that's out there. So really cute one. Dead Man's Hand by Caden Chronicles. I'm also getting rid of this one. I enjoyed it, and I do want to finish reading this series, because it's like this like little like Western kind of thing. Like, boy is just traveling and he becomes like a little detective like kind of thing, but it's got like this like Wild West kind of set to it, which is kind of fun. And I think, and like each book is like barely 100 pages. Like, okay, this is 200 pages. That's deceiving. And then we have The Wolf of Cape Fen by Juliana Brandt. This is a really sweet story. I thought it was middle grade horror. It's not. It's really sweet. It's about two sisters, and like the struggles that they're going through, and the possibility of like this evil guy who lives in the lighthouse and everything. And there's like some magic and stuff as well, but like it's really cute. It's really sweet, but it wasn't what I thought it was. And so yeah, like I'm glad I read it, but I'm not going to read it again. Then we have The Land of Roar by Jenny McLaughlin. This is a whole series. I only have the first book. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It is. And I do plan on reading the rest of the series. I think it's like 4 books long. So I am going to finish this one. But it is fun. It's kids, they go to the world that like they made up in their head and they got to save it essentially. Pretty basic kind of idea. Then we have the first book by Adam J. Epstein. This one is Snared, Escape from Above. It's the one that Lair goes to. Nothing really to throw home about that. Throne of Bones, Frostborn by Lou Anders. I did really like this one. I loved how it tackled certain topics about learning how to accept yourself. That like, because like the main boy, like he's not physically strong, but he is like mentally strong, and like he uses that to his advantage. And I really like how the author had used like the game of like chess to help this kid like learn how to strategize and stuff. So I do plan on finishing this series. I'm just going to finish it through the library. And then we have Sky Song by Abby Elphinstone. Really pretty story. It's pretty, but it's also just kind of like, oh, it's cute, it's fun. Kind of forgettable because honestly I don't remember what it's about, but I read it like 2 years ago, so that might be why. And like these last couple of years have just been a nightmare for me, so like remembering certain things has been a little difficult. So yeah, but yeah, so all the middle grade books that you guys saw in here are the ones that I'm getting rid of. That's about 22 books, so that's a lot, especially since the goal is to cull the middle grade collection. So yeah, so that's where we're at. This video came out a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, so hopefully I can edit it down just a little bit. But yeah, so I'm hopefully back. I'm gonna try and get back on track with making videos and getting stuff put up and everything, and keeping you guys caught up on my reading, and just, yeah, hoping that I can get back into the flow of this. And this is probably what the scenery is gonna look like. Eventually there's gonna be pictures here because we haven't gotten those put up yet, but I can't film in front of the bookcases anymore because they're in the hallway and there's not space to sit in the hallway and film a video. So I do have some video ideas planned and everything, so do look forward to that. So yeah, hoping to get this back up and running and being able to talk with you guys again. Hopefully you guys will still be here and want to watch my videos and keep up with me. And yeah, maybe we'll do more of this just relaxed video kind of thing. I don't know. We'll see what happens, where this goes. So yeah. Tell me what you guys think of any of this. Sorry the video was so long, but I hope you enjoyed it. So till next time, bye.